Angels who can burn cities, split the sky, and stand at the front of heaven's army until demons fall silent. But the most terrifying angel in all creation is not the one with the brightest fire, largest wings, or loudest weapon. It is Azrael, the angel of death. What makes him horrifying is not that he looks like a monster, it is that he does not need to look like anything at all. By the time Azrael appears, the fear has already done its work. Somewhere behind your life, a door has closed. The final line has been written. He is not coming to fight you, he is coming because the fight is over. Michael can fight, Lucifer can rebel, Gabriel can speak, but Azrael does something far more frightening. He ends the moment when fighting, rebelling, and speaking still matter. A warrior gives you an enemy. A rebel gives you a choice. A messenger gives you a warning. Azrael gives you none of these. No warning, no negotiation, no second voice from the dark. He does not hate you, hunt you, or raise his hand. He does not bring danger into the room. He brings the proof that danger has already become destiny. That is the horror of Azrael. Not blood, not violence, not a screaming face in the dark. His terror is cleaner and colder. He is the silence after every prayer has been spoken, the stillness after every sword has fallen, the final pause after heaven, hell, and humanity have said everything they are allowed to say. So the question is no longer whether Azrael is stronger than Michael or more feared than Lucifer. If war, rebellion, prayer, and pride must become silent before him, what could possibly remain standing when Azrael arrives? We climb deeper now, not upward, but inward. To understand Azrael, you have to let go of one very human idea, that death must be emotional. We imagine death as anger, punishment, violence, a dramatic final act. But in many traditions, death is described less like an explosion and more like an office, a duty, a boundary someone must attend. He is frightening because he is completely within control. A monster breaks the order. Azrael belongs to the order. A monster violates the boundary. Azrael is the boundary. If a monster comes for you, you can hope the universe is still on your side. But if Azrael comes, the universe is not being invaded. The universe is doing its job. In one old legend, angels were sent to take dust from the earth so humankind could be formed. The earth pleaded not to become the material for beings who would suffer, sin, and die. Some angels hesitated. Azrael, according to one version of the story, heard the same plea and still completed the command. That is where his image changes. Azrael is not terrifying because he lacks mercy. He is terrifying because mercy does not cancel the order. He can hear the plea and still carry the command. He can understand sorrow and still finish the task. That is colder than cruelty. Cruelty is personal. Azrael is not. In this kind of telling, he becomes connected with death, not because he loved death, but because he could carry an unbearable duty without turning it into a negotiation. Human beings survive by negotiation. We plead, we bargain, we explain, we say, not yet. One more day, one more hour, one more chance. Azrael is the moment when the universe stops asking for your explanation. If mercy hears you, but the order still continues, is that mercy comforting or more terrifying? Most horror stories depend on pursuit. Something is behind you. Something is getting closer. Something wants to reach you before you reach the door. But Azrael changes the structure of fear. He does not chase you, because chasing would imply uncertainty. It means the outcome still depends on distance, speed, timing, and luck. It means there is still a chance, however small, that the pursuit can escape. Azrael does not need that drama. This is what makes him more frightening than a monster. A monster comes toward you. Azrael does not have to. The road comes toward him. The room comes toward him. The final hour comes toward him. Even your attempt to escape may already belong to the ending. In some stories told around the figure of death, a man sees the angel of death looking at him and panics. He begs to be taken far away to another fate. But later, the angel of death says he was surprised only because the order had already named that faraway place. The man did not escape death. He traveled to the sentence where death was waiting. That is why Azrael is so hard to turn into a normal villain. A villain blocks your escape. Azrael does not. He can leave every door open, every road clear, every chance still in front of you. And that is what makes him worse. Because when you finally reach the place you thought would save you, Azrael is already there, not out of breath, not covered in dust, not arriving after you. Already there. He never needed to chase you, because the place you ran to was never outside the ending. That is the terror of Azrael. He does not stop your escape. He lets you complete it, and then shows you it was part of the order all along. The open door was not freedom. The distance was not safety. The final road did not lead away from death. It led to the place where your name was already waiting. Now we reach the comparison everyone wants to make. But most people make it too simply. They ask, is Azrael stronger than Michael, more powerful than Lucifer? Could the angel of death defeat the warrior of heaven or the rebel of hell? But that is the wrong question. Azrael's fear does not come from combat. It comes from category. Michael represents war, order, divine force, the defense of heaven. But even war belongs to time. A battle begins, rises, and ends. When it ends, something quieter than victory enters the field. Michael can win the war. Azrael is what waits after the word war, no longer has anything left to do. Lucifer is terrifying in a different way. He represents rebellion, pride, refusal, the power to say no. His image is compelling because rebellion still feels alive. If you can still resist, you still have breath. If you can still say no, you still have time. If defiance still matters, the future has not fully closed. But Azrael stands after that future has closed. Lucifer represents the voice that rejects the command. Azrael represents the moment when voices are no longer received. Rebellion can shake heaven. Pride can challenge the throne. Refusal can crack the order. But all of those actions share one hidden condition. The story is still continuing, and time still allows an answer. When Azrael arrives, that condition is gone. That is why heaven and hell fall silent before him. Not because he defeats them in battle, but because the place he reaches no longer belongs to battle. At that point, swords, rebellion, pleading, argument, and command are all compressed into the same result. Too late. Heaven can answer rebellion. Hell can answer punishment. War can answer war. But nothing can answer the end. Picture the last moment after a holy war has ended. Michael's sword is lowered. The enemy has stopped moving. The banners still stand, but no one is cheering. A soldier opens his mouth to pray, but the words do not come out. A demon tries to laugh from the edge of the field, but the sound dies in its throat. Even the angels do not sing. Not because another army is arriving, not because a greater weapon has appeared, because Azrael has stepped onto the field, and everyone understands the same thing at once. The battle is no longer deciding anything. The winners have already won. The losers have already lost. Now, someone has come to collect the names. That is what makes him terrifying. Michael can decide who wins the war, but Azrael arrives when victory itself no longer matters. At that moment, no sword can protect you, no rebellion can save you, and no argument can move the line even 1 inch. His weapon is not a blade. His weapon is the moment when every living thing realizes the story has already been counted. If a monster appears, the body knows what to do. Step back, raise your hands, look for a door. But when Azrael appears, the body receives no clear instruction. There is nothing to fight, nothing to dodge, nothing to bargain with. The air becomes too still. The mind searches for one last mistake in the order, but there is no mistake to find. That is the horror of Azrael. He does not make death dramatic. He makes it official. He does not come like an executioner. He comes like the final record being opened. Once that record is open, the most frightening thing is not pain, violence, or darkness. It is the realization that nothing more needs to happen for the ending to be real. So which is more terrifying? An enemy who wants to destroy you, or an angel who does not need to want anything? Because your name is already on the page. Now comes the final reversal. If Azrael is the angel of death, it is easy to imagine him as the master of death, the owner of the final door, the highest fear. But some traditions push the idea further. They suggest that death itself is not ultimate, that even death has an end, and that the angel of death is not outside the final order, but inside it. This changes everything. Azrael is not terrifying because he is the highest power. He is terrifying because even he is not the highest power. He is a servant of the ending, a carrier of the boundary, a figure who comes for every name while still belonging to a law that stands above him, that is colder than being a god of death. A god of death might rule. Azrael obeys, obedience. at that scale, is harder to face than cruelty. Cruelty can be judged, tyranny can be hated, violence can be condemned, but obedience to the final law gives you nothing to accuse, nothing to appeal, nothing to expose. He is not the source of the ending. He is the one who arrives when the ending has already been authorized. Imagine, then, not a monster at the door, but a book, a page, a name, not shouted, not carved in fire, not announced with thunder, just written, and that is enough. If the name is there, the universe has already moved past the stage of warning. This is why the image of a death register, a book of names, or a divine record appears in so many religious imaginations. Whether literal, symbolic, or mystical, the idea carries the same weight. Your life is not only something you live, it is also something recorded. And if it can be recorded, it can be completed. That is the final terror of Azrael. Not that he tears the page, not that he writes with violence, but that when he appears, the page may already be finished. No storm, no scream, no monstrous entrance. Azrael is simply there, not arriving, already there. If he crashed through the door, you could call him an invader. If he raised a weapon, you could call him an attacker. If he shouted your name, you could call him cruel. But he does none of that. He stands beside the ending, like someone standing beside a candle after the flame has already stopped moving. And then you understand why heaven and hell fall silent. Heaven is not silent because it is weak. Hell is not silent because it is afraid of losing a fight. They are silent because Azrael does not bring another argument into the room. He brings the end of arguments. This is your final choice. You can return to the comforting image of death as a monster, something dark, emotional, and separate from order. Or you can face the more terrifying idea that the angel of death is not evil. He is not angry. He is not hunting you. He is simply the figure who arrives when your story has no more sentences left. What do you do?